I'm Marti Cummings, and this is Marti Talks. We're chatting with your favorite stars, queens, and politicians to get all the tea on all things political.
Oh my God. You are so silly today.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Someone is loopy, girl.
No, I've got a case of the giggles on this beautiful springtime day in New York City because I'm sitting down with the one and only Roberta Elaine, the drag extraordinaire queen. Bob, the drag queen. It's a wonderful day.
Why are you so giggly?
I'll tell you why. I've got a little pep in my step. I had 4 cups of coffee, an iced coffee, a drinking my ginger ale, and I made homemade nachos with vegan chicken nuggets. So it's a beautiful day in quarantine, and I am just wishing you the best. How are you?
Are you vegan?
Well, no. Kind of.
Well, I'm all ears.
Who's asking the questions on this podcast?
Well, I just want to know if you're vegan or not.
No,
Are you vegan?
I'm a vegetarian. I haven't eaten meat for about 2 years because can I tell you the story of how? So I've always loved animals, but I watched this video of these 2 pigs that was on. Do you know the dodo? Do you watch the dodo? It's like a YouTube, Instagram that like animal
I
thing.
don't.
Oh, I love it. I'll send you links every day for now on.
Jesus. What have I signed up for?
But there was a video of these 2 pigs, and one of them had died, and they had been friends for 13 years living together. And the one pig was mourning his friend who they were about to bury, and the pig was clearly in distress that his friend had died. So it showed that these pigs are highly emotional, sensitive, spiritual beings. And I made a decision that day. I said I'm not gonna eat meat anymore, and I haven't. That was 2 years ago. But every now and again, every now and again I'll have fish. Very rarely. Very, very, very rarely. But I try to shop vegan for the home. But if I go out and have like cheese, I'm not going to beat myself up or anything.
You know, that's why I stopped eating people, because I found out they mourn the loss of their loved ones.
Well, Bob, this is let's not make this a controversial podcast.
No, you don't condone cannibalism. Condone cannibalism.
I like the Kesha song. I am a cannibal.
No, I think you were just taking "I Am American" and then mixing it with the song "Cannibal."
I'm not a fracker. Let's.
Yeah. You're the one doing the controversy. Look at you.
No. I support our environment, not fracking. Now, speaking of Kesha, I do love Kesha very much. You did the Kesha cruise.
Yeah, we got matching tattoos. Did I ever show you my matching Kesha? That's my Kesha tattoo.
Wait, well, the audience can't see this. This is a sneak peek joke for me.
No, they're just for you. Maybe I can. Maybe you can post it to your social when this goes live. And I want to thank you for having me on the inaugural episode of your podcast.
Well, I want to thank you for producing the inaugural episode of my podcast.
It's my pleasure. I'll be editing our voices together to sound seamlessly
isn't
gorgeous.
That nice? You get to, even when I'm not with you, you will hear my soothing voice.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy your voice. You're one of my best friends in New York City, and I
say it again.
Thoroughly enjoy you. Oh my God, I think I've gotten myself into a world of trouble.
You know, I love you so much. I say this a lot because I think okay. So here's the full tea. You are one of my closest friends, and I love you immensely. But one of the things I love, you make me laugh. You make me not take myself so seriously, because even though I'm clearly a silly Billy, I get wrapped up in my anxiety a lot, and you always calm me down, which I'm grateful for. But I also like, and I don't want to be like that girl, but you are a drag artist who, our entire friendship, I've always looked up to. I love your work ethic. I love your politics. I love how you don't take shit from people, and you stand for what you believe in. And I've always admired that. And I think it's important, like, to have friends that you look up to and you admire. And you are one of those people for me. I love you very much.
Well, ditto, kiddo. The first year that I knew you, I don't know that I was looking up to you, but in the past 8 or 9, I've thought you've been quite exemplary.
Well, the first year you knew me, I was
Yeah, so for the listeners who don't know this, when I met Marti Cummings, it was outside of a bar called Vlada, which no longer exists. It was a bar in Hell's Kitchen, right next to this really big I don't know what you remember that
It
Christian
was a church.
sign.
It said God saves, and the lights would flicker
God,
on the cross.
and on the other side, and it said, "Your sin will find you out."
And
Do you remember
it
that?
was like a giant cross that said that, but it was basically like an arrow pointing to the door of Vlada.
Yeah, and I just remember always like standing there, and all these like queens and queers and trans people and lesbians and are looking for the sign that said "Your sin will find you." And I was like, I remember being like, "Jesus, that seems pointed." I don't know which came first, the church or the neon church or the gay bar. But I will say this: the gay bar certainly outlasted the church outlasted the gay bar. Because Vlada ended up not surviving. The boost of queer bars in Hell's Kitchen.
She didn't survive. Oh God, there's so many now.
But when I met you, I didn't finish. When I met you, you were like on the who knows what.
A
I
lot.
don't know if, and you were bragging about your charity work and how amazing you are and you were going on about your drag career and how your drag career has always been used to help others. And then you were talking about these new queens who,
New queens. I was a new queen.
well, Mary, it's what you said. These new queens who, like, don't know any something like that. And I remember recently, like, getting a flashback to that, Marty, because I don't know what was going on. I think you were at my house or we were at someone else's house, and we were all watching your audition tape, like your first audition tape.
Oh, yeah, I remember you pulled that up.
I didn't pull it up. You pulled it up. You're like I have the link stored somewhere in.
You asked for it. Don't you fool these. Don't gaslight these viewers.
No, but you said I pulled it up. Like I was like, let me go into my secret folder full of
You
Marty.
wanted it. You wanted it. You wanted it.
No, I loved it. It was you. You should post it in conjunction with this episode. You should post.
I think it's important to laugh at yourself. Okay, when I met you, okay,
Oh, Marty, I love laughing at yourself.
you make my self esteem crumble.
Martha.
No, I love you. I when I met you, I'm wearing my own merch right now. Do you see that? Oh my god,
I love that. I'm wearing Lady Shug from Shiprock, New Mexico.
Work. Yeah, I was such a mess when I met you. You know, I was on the drugs and the drink and was so just crazy out of my mind. And that season 2 audition tape is a mess, an embarrassing mess, but it's also a great gem of history, I think. Of my life. Yeah,
I agree.
I'm very grateful to be sober now and not that.
How long have you been sober? I mean, I was newly sober. When I met you at Vlada, I was newly sober.
I think I just had 9 years a couple weeks ago.
Keep coming back. It twerks if you twerk it. I'm not saying you're in a program or anything. But, I would not do that to anyone's anonymity.
No.
All I'm saying is think, and
one day at a time.
Meeting makers make it. But that's just these are things that I'm just coincidentally saying.
Yes, yeah. I love being sober. I love it. It gives me the great joy of my life. I always say everything that has happened in my life is because I'm sober. I always say, do you know what's a scary thought?
And you sounded a little drunk when you said that. Everything's happened in my life because I'm.
People that do, I talk fast. I'm very energetic. So, but shut up.
Yeah, I mean, I assume you're energetic. I mean, you haven't drank in years, but you're still doing coke and stuff, right?
No, Bob. What is wrong with you?
I'm kidding.
Oh my god. No, my best friend always makes fun of me because he says, "What vice do you have now?" Because I don't eat meat, I don't smoke anymore, I don't do drugs, I don't drink. I'm married, and I'm very I don't know. He's like, "What do you do?" And I drink. So I've had 4 cups of coffee today. That's what I do. I've had the coffee.
I mean, you do love. I think that your vice might be anxiety. You love being anxious. And I talked to you yesterday because I gave you that microphone that we're recording on right now. By the way, just everyone's wondering, I was wearing a glove. I was wearing a mask. We walked. I handed Marty the bag that was sanitized on the street like a dirty drug deal. And I was like, Marty, don't be anxious because you wanted to. So let me tell. So I'm going to give the breakdown. So what happened was we rushed So we were getting ready to go do the podcast, and then Marty didn't realize that his partner, their partner, gave the microphone they have to a friend, or like he mailed it.
Blake, okay, I love my husband dearly, but he's always doing shit that I'm like, what are you doing? We have a microphone, a podcast
It's
microphone.
the same
The
microphone.
same one. The same one. And I said, hey, Blake, can you grab me the microphone? Because I have to record this podcast with Bob. Oh, I gave that to somebody who needed a microphone. What
But
do you?
also, didn't you ask Blake if you had one, and he was like,
Yes,
"Yeah."
just a few
But
days ago.
but you didn't bother to be like, but he didn't bother to say, "Yeah, we do own one, but we don't have it."
Yeah, I don't know why he would have not told me that. So knowing that I'm recording a podcast, so I'm very grateful that we live near each other, and I was able to do a safe, socially distanced handoff of this
Yeah,
microphone.
drug deal on the street. So then Marty, so we sit down and record, and Marty's like, "Well," I said, "Well, Marty, I think it's better to have a sound quality that sounds nice. So I'll just walk down. We'll meet halfway. I'll give you the microphone." And then Marty was like, "And then we will rush back home. We will run back home and do the podcast in about 25 minutes." And I was like, "Well, I think that we should wait until tomorrow." And then I told you not to be anxious, to which you responded, "I'm not anxious," in a very anxious, "I'm not anxious. Who's anxious?"
I do get anxious a lot, but you know, it for me, my anxiety, it fuels me to be active. I'm a very my you know this, but my day is always filled from beginning to end, and then I take like a little rest in the middle, which is what happened right before this. I laid down for 10 minutes, just a little rest. But I fill my day from beginning to end. I let my anxiety fuel me to be productive. That's what I try to
You
do.
were what were you doing this morning?
This morning, so we're in this quarantine, and it's scary, and a lot of people, particularly seniors, are vulnerable to this virus, and they can't go out grocery shopping. So there's a great thing called the Not Me, Not Us mutual aid group, and you can sign up, and you go to the grocery. People send you their grocery list, and you buy groceries for them, and then um, ring their doorbell and leave it at their door. So I was doing that all morning, which was it was really
That's so
fun.
amazing.
It was really fun. I like doing stuff like that though. Like I enjoy it. I have fun. I like doing stuff like that.
And then you skim a little off the top, like buy yourself some Red Bull,
No, that's
buy yourself
stealing.
buy yourself a couple of apples. There are just apples and Red Bull.
That's stealing, and I don't believe in that.
Marty, it's just Red Bull. I'm sure these citizens would love to get you a Red Bull for getting them groceries.
No, you send them the receipt, and then they reimburse you, so they know everything on the receit. And I
And it
would
just
never.
says one, and everyone knows that Ethel loves Red Bull.
I feel like you put you put me in a corner and you love. See, this makes me anxious.
I also love the idea that like they're getting the receipts and they're like, Esther is drinking a 12 pack of Red Bull, and like this little old lady, like like
Running around her
geeked up,
apartment.
like crushing Red Bull cans on her fucking forehead. Oh, that tickles me
Oh my
pink.
God, you had a very
No,
busy week this week. Your new show on HBO, We Are Here, premiered. Bam, bam, bam.
yeah, it was wild. So We're Here premiered on Thursday, and just last night,
You were on
Drag
Drag
Race
Race, Celebrity Drag Race.
Celebrity, yeah, show Benda has showed up as well. So, Mama, it's on and popping over here at the house of the drag queen.
Let's talk about Celebrity Drag Race.
And also today, my show, the Pit Stop, came out.
Oh yeah, she's got all the shows.
What do you want to talk about Celebrity Drag Race?
Okay, uh, there is,
What?
huh?
What?
Oh, well, first of all, I loved you and Monet on, and I love Miss Trixie. The Twitter was going crazy about. Are we allowed to talk about this?
Well, I don't know what you're gonna say.
I mean, you can edit it. We can edit it out if you want.
Well, I don't know what you're gonna say, so I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it.
I just find I just don't think he's very nice. Excuse me.
Well,
I don't think they're very nice. I don't think they are very nice.
Well, I don't really know Nico that well, to be quite frank. We only spent 2 days together. And we didn't work together. I worked with Jermaine Fowler. So I don't know a whole lot about Nico. I will say this. Nico was not happy that they lost.
But that's ridiculous. It's like a fun. It's not a real competition. It's like a fun thing for charity. Like it's all in good fun.
Well, yeah, some people just take things, really. People are just really people get really into it. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's all in good fun. They just. I don't know. They're. I just. I don't know.
Did you feel like they were shown in a positive light on the show?
I think they showed who they are.
So, and what do you feel like you saw?
Huh?
What do you feel like you saw?
I mean, I had this run in once where I just felt like I was like, I just think the way you speak to people and treat people is really important. And I think like we all have our moments where we snap and are like we all have our moments where we're not
Wait, did they snap on you?
not me. Just the way you interact with people around you says a lot about you, I
You
think.
all didn't see Marty wagged her little finger and said, "Not me." Oh, not me, honey.
You're not gonna snap at me, but oh, you get one. You get one snap. Okay.
Yeah, Marty. Shut up, Marty.
Oh, tell
That
that
was
story. Oh God.
that was your dad's one snap. So we were in Philly. Marty and I were doing a gig at a bar called
Taboo,
Taboo,
yeah,
which
taboo.
has moved. They actually moved like down the street
It's
to
a
a much
nice
nicer
venue.
facility.
It's nice.
Yeah,
I did a show there last year.
it used to be like in an attic. I mean, we were literally in someone's
If you
attic.
tripped, you'd fall out the bay window onto the street. That's what it was.
Yeah. And so we were looking for parking, but we couldn't find it. Marty's dad was driving, and
Mhm.
and your mom was there as well. You and I were in the back seat, and then Marty was being anxious and talking a lot and wouldn't stop, like commenting on where to park. And it was snowing, and the snow was coming down pretty heavy, and Marty was really being aggressive about uh, telling her dad like blah blah blah, and then your dad just turned around and was like, "Shut up, Marty!" And then Marty went like white as the snow we were driving on, and then immediately turned to me and started doing damage control, being like, "My dad doesn't normally talk to me like this. My dad's under a lot of pressure. He's not a bad person, and I'm not a bad son, and he's not a bad person, and I'm a good person, and you're a good person. We're all good people. Let's just do a show, ladies and gentlemen."
Well, my dad, because I was being a backseat driver. It reminded me of this one time we were on the way to the beach when we were kids, and my brother and I were like bickering in the back. And right out of a movie, my dad we had this big RV hooked to those like RVs that hook to a truck, and it's like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So we had like that. So it's a lot going down the highway. And my brother and I are like smacking each other in the back, really being obnoxious. And my dad pulled the entire RV to the side of this highway and turned around and goes, "I work 70 hours a week and this is my break. If you don't shut the fuck up." And I was like,
How old are you? Was this like on last year's vacation?
it was like it was like a week ago. I was
Right,
probably like
yeah, right before the quarantine.
before the quarantine, yeah. I was probably like 10 years old, but my dad like very rarely yells. That's the thing about my dad. He's like the sweetest guy. He's such like a
Oh my God, I got to be there for one of them. That's amazing. I feel so privileged and
I
honored.
can count on one hand the amount of times my dad has like really, really raised his voice like that to me. To my brothers, he yells it all the time, but to me, hardly ever.
I'm so the princess. Wait, are you the youngest?
Yes, yes, of course.
That is so obvious. That is the most obvious question I've ever asked in my whole entire life, girl.
I'm daddy's little girl.
Wait, no, we're not gonna skip around. What did you see Nico saying to the people around him?
I just think I don't know. I'm a big you know this about me. I'm a big believer. If you have a platform, uh, and you're gonna say that you're using it for good, you should actually walk the walk. Not just talk the talk. It's more than a photo
Yeah.
op. And it's just the way. All right. Anyway, so my dad yelled at me, and it was very crazy.
Well, Marty, don't scream into the microphone.
My dad yelled at me.
You
It was
are.
very crazy.
I hear some underscoring in the background. That's so beautiful.
Oh, Blake's playing piano. He's orchestrating music right now.
Must be nice.
He's probably working on your song, isn't he?
Do you love it? Are you in the house like this is amazing? Or are you in the house like stop?
With the
Full stop.
Blake. Okay, first of all, Blake is one of the most incredible musicians and orchestrators I've ever met. He puts these concerts together with like 20 musicians, 20 singers. They're beautiful. His music's incredible, and I love hearing the piano. This is what I don't love.
Oh, and here it is.
He'll have the headphones on, plugged into his laptop or keyboard while he's orchestrating music. But as he's orchestrating, he'll be like singing along with it, but he doesn't realize it because of his headphones. But the singing, the piano sounds beautiful, you can hear it, but the singing is like there's no words, so he's just like and it's a mix of like a whale and a cow, and I have to be, because I love him so much, but you know me, I oh, somebody's ringing my doorbell.
Do you want to answer it?
No, the quarantine. Blake, the door. I don't want to touch it. Blake.
You should secretly. It is a. You live in a petting zoo. Jesus. You should secretly record Blake while he does his music.
Record him while he's singing his music. Yeah. Blake, honey, can you get the door? Blake, honey, I'm recording. Can you help?
Also, it's my microphone, and so someone needed it for my project, which is why I gave it to them.
Did you hear him? Microphone.
Blake has been listening in on the podcast.
On our podcast. Wait, Blake has been eavesdropping on our podcast.
You're very loud. I can hear you.
Oh my god. But viewers, that's the tea. Blake has been eavesdropping on this podcast the whole time and knows that I was talking shit about him giving the microphone away.
Does Blake want to weigh in on
Blake, do you want to weigh in on the microphone gate?
On the humming.
Oh, Blake, can you weigh in on your humming while you? I said very nice things about your orchestrations and your concerts and how you play piano. I just don't like when you hum along to it.
Well, I can't play the piano and hear the vocal line unless I'm humming.
Can you do a little bit of humming for us? I would love to hear the humming.
Bob wants to hear the humming. Can you do the humming?
No, because I don't even know what it is. I have the headphones on that you also took, which are mine, to this podcast. You have your own headphones.
But we're married, so your headphones are also my headphones.
Oh, no. You only use that when you want things of mine, but when I want things of yours, you say, nope, they're mine.
You two are such a cute couple. Look how cute you two are.
I do love it. He's my.
Can I see him? Tell him to say hey to me. I want to see him.
Blake, Bob wants to say hi to you. Come here. Hold on, let me take my headphones out so he can hear you.
Well, it might affect the audio.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Hey there, handsome.
Great, how are you?
I'm in a good mood. Thanks for letting us borrow these headphones.
Absolutely.
This podcast has basically become like, let's make fun of Marty hour.
No, absolutely. It's
supposed to be a political podcast, and we're just making fun of me the whole time.
No, we've been celebrating your sobriety, celebrating your work as an activist, celebrating the work you do for the community when you went and delivered all those senior citizens food today. We talked about all those things.
About you. This is about you. You're the guest.
We talked about how your dad abused you.
So, Bob, we have to talk. You're my guest.
I am your guest. I'm your guest. I'm your guest. I'm taking a back seat.
Don't. My dad might yell at you.
Shut up, Bob.
Oh my god, I would always get so like jealous at our shows because my parents would be so like into your performances, and they'd be like in the front row just like fawning over. They'd be like, "Oh my god, this is the funniest thing. This is so good. This is amazing." And then there was this one time after the show, I was like, "Dad, what did you think of the like?" Because they literally like my dad like turned to you in the dressing room and was like, "You're so amazing, Bob. I love you." Like just like really praising you, which rightfully so. But then I'm sitting there like a little lamb in the corner, just so meek and mild. And I'm like, "Dad,
please, can I have some?"
They're like, "Dad, what did you think of my performance?" And he goes, "I've seen you do better, honestly." And
I think it's only because your parents hadn't seen me often and they've seen you do so much stuff. You know what I mean?
I was heartbroken.
Also, not to mention the time that we were there and then your mom came backstage for like a second and you had almost finished your makeup and then you were reaching for the lipstick and your mom saw that you reached for the lipstick and she goes, "Now, Marty, please don't overdraw your lips. I hate it when you do that." And then your mom just left the room. Cut to I just walk away and I come back and your lips are up to your nose and down to your chin. Out of spite, you just overdrew your lips as big as you possibly could. Because your mom goes, and Marty, please don't overdraw your lips. I hate it when you do that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, Monet was our guest that month. I remember that.
How is your mom?
My mom is good. My parents are so cute. They send little pictures every night they have like a little fire pit or whatever their yard, and they're so in love. Like they send pictures every night. Like my dad will send a picture like with my sweetheart, cooking, and it's very cute. They're very sweet, and my mom's like she loves it.
How old are your parents?
My dad is 7. Blake, are you really making food with the crumply bag while I'm recording?
Hit her.
What do you mean? Am I still recording? We're not just talking for fun. I mean, I am having fun.
I mean, we talk for fun.
I know,
we talk for fun all the time.
Not with a microphone in front. Anyway, go back to your room. My dad's 70 and my mom is 69. How old's your mom?
My mother's 58 years old.
We love Martha.
Yeah. I can't tell if my mom is young or not, but I feel like 24 is not young to have a child. She was 24 when she had me.
I think that's pretty young.
I mean, yeah, for me, I think about when my mom was my age, what was she doing? And then thinking about what I'm doing now that I'm 33. When my mom was 33, she had a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old. And we were living in Phoenix City, Alabama.
Yeah, when my parents were my age, they had an 11-year-old. And it's like, it's crazy. That's crazy to me.
Oh, so there's a big gap between you and your siblings.
My brother William is 48.
Oh my goodness. Were you a surprise?
My mother, should I tell this? No.
What?
No, I don't. Okay.
What?
My mother told me.
Is she listening?
But she'll listen to the podcast.
So what did your mom tell you?
My mother one time told me that I was conceived because my parents went on a hayride in like October, and my mom enjoyed the hayride, and so that night they went home to have a little frisky moment, and the condom, I just punched right through it. My little spermies just went right through, and here I am. But when my mom was,
your dad had 2 rides that night, honey.
But when my mom was in labor, she was like, "Oh, we have to go to the hospital. Like, I'm having this baby," and they got to the hospital, and the doctor's like, "No, this baby, you're not having this baby tonight. Like, you can go home." And my mom's like, "I've had 2 before. I know that I'm having this baby today." And the doctor's like, "No," and he like left the room, and my mom started to go into labor and started pushing me out, and this resident came in and delivered me, and then my mom and dad wanted to thank him after, and the hospital for liability reasons wouldn't give his name because he was like a resident or student or something, so they wouldn't give his name, so my parents have no idea who delivered me.
So this Mr. Maybe he wasn't actually a resident. Maybe it was just a person walking by. You know those those creatures in movies who like someone's like, yeah, a guy delivered my child and his name was Dr. Brown, and then the receptionist goes, "Didn't you hear? Dr. Brown died 10 years ago."
That actually happened to my mom's cousin Polly.
And the entire building disappears, and you realize your mom gave birth in like a barn.
Do you have ghost story? Because my mom, not my mom's cousin, but my mom's Aunt Polly was walking down the street once when she was older, and she talked to this woman in a rocking chair on the porch, and went to a little cocktail party after and said, "Oh, so and so, Mrs. Bop up on the house on the corner was so sweet. I can't wait to see her again." And all the neighbors said, "Oh, she's been dead for 20 years.
And were they all saying that as if like, "Oh yeah, the ghost always pops up," or were they saying it like?
I don't know. This happened in like the 1950s.
I mean, do ghosts scare you?
I grew up in a haunted house, so no.
What's that behind you? I'm just kidding. I really thought you'd get
spooky.
Oh my God. You sound like Blake when he's recording.
Are you scared of ghosts? Do you believe in ghosts?
I don't believe in ghosts, although I do think I saw an angel once, but I think it was my mind playing tricks on me.
I'd like to hear about that.
So when I was really young, okay, I get sleep paralysis. I have my whole life. Have you ever had sleep paralysis?
You're paralyzed.
Yeah, it's when yeah, it's in the name. Paralysis. And it's when you wake up, but you can't move anything but your eyes. All you can do is open your eyes and look around. No other part of your body can you move. And there's an intense fear of doom and dread, and you feel like something's looking at you or something's staring at you, but you can't see it. Only it can see you. That's how you feel. Anyway, so when I was a kid, this is my first time having sleep paralysis. I remember I was in bed, and then I remember looking up at the ceiling, and this pool of light, like a perfect circle with a light coming out of it, came from the ceiling. And this man came down and said to me, "Don't go to Mississippi this summer. If you do, your grandma will die."
Oh my God.
And it looked like an angel. And then it shot back up into the ceiling, and then I was able to move. And I screamed, and my mom came down, and I told her what happened, and she was like, "Don't be crazy. I mean, don't be silly. You go to Mississippi every summer. You're going." And that was my experience with the angel.
Did you go to Mississippi?
Yeah, and she died.
Really?
But I also had a hand in that. No, I'm kidding. No, my grandma, my grandma did die that summer. But I think it was a coincidence, though. I really do. I remember my mom being like, "Oh my goodness, you said this would happen," and I was like, "Yeah, but I mean, that's probably a coincidence."
I don't really believe in coincidences.
I do. I also used to predict lottery numbers as a kid too. I had The Shining.
Wait, you would get them correct?
Like 3 or 4 times, but the 3-digit numbers, not like the 5-digit numbers.
Do you play the lottery today?
I have not played the lottery in a month of Sundays.
Why? I love it.
Uh,
I love to gamble.
well, I realize that the odds aren't in my favor, and I've never won the lottery. And I used to play it when I was younger, but also the Georgia lottery is different. Georgia lottery is actually so that we have something in Georgia called this. This is one of the reasons why I advocate for free education in America. A lot of people don't know this, but in Georgia, we have a socialist program called the Hope Scholarship, where anyone who graduates high school in Georgia with a B average goes to college for free.
That's amazing.
Anyone, and it's paid for through the Georgia lottery.
Oh, the lottery program?
Yeah, the Georgia lottery, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, there are actual ways that you. Oh my God! Look, I'm turning it back to politics.
Well, hey,
there are actual ways that you can fund that, because people don't realize we already have it in this very country we live in. The Hope Scholarship fully allows for people to, go to college for free. All you have to do is have good grades.
well, I mean, yeah, there's so many ways to make education, healthcare free. Look at what happened in Colorado when they legalized marijuana. They had a surplus. Most states don't have a surplus in their budget, right? It's always like a deficit. So when you have a surplus because of tax revenue or whatever from marijuana sales, or what you're talking about, the lottery, you can put that directly back into healthcare, back into education, back into programs that need it. And you have to put it back. Well, first of all, when you legalize marijuana, you have to give, I believe, licenses and permits to sell to the communities who have been most affected by incarceration for it. And then you have to expunge all the records of people who have been held for ridiculous possession charges. The
You know
whole.
what has
Oh, sorry.
You know what's been making me think crazy recently? Like, when Black people were asking for reparations and the government was like, "We just don't have it. I'm so sorry. It's not in the budget. Honestly, I would love to, but we just don't have that money." And then the quarantine hit, and they're like, "All right, we will be giving $1,200 to every single American." And I was like, "Oh, so you had the money the whole time."
So what you're saying is,
Like, it's weird that you have enough money to give $1,200 to all the adults. I don't think the kids are getting $1,200, and I don't know what percentage of America's population is children. But let's just say, even if it's 200 million people, that's not how many Black people live in America. So Black people make up like 10% of the population. So all that tells me is that y'all had enough money to give every Black person in America at least $10,000, and you have just chosen not to, year after year after
well, our
year.
country's.
And that was when the economy was doing well. Our economy has completely tanked right now because of coronavirus. So in the midst of a recession, you have money to give everyone $1,200, but beforehand you had nothing to give Black folks. I'm shook.
Well, I believe in reparations. Our government should give reparations, 100%. Well, the thing that makes me mad is I get so upset when people say, "Oh, the systems in this case of like the quarantine, this virus is happening. There's oh, the system's not working. I'm like, the system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It's like you look at what's happening with this virus. Brown and black communities are being affected more. People aren't getting the resources that they need in certain communities. The system is built to uplift wealthy white people, and that's wrong and fucked. And that's why we need an overhaul of the system. And when people say, "Oh, it's too this is just how it is, it's too much, we can't make change." Well, the reason we can't make change is because people say that we can't make change. If enough people stand up and speak out and vote for people who are progressive minded people, we can make change. But until that happens, people are going to continue to get the shaft, and that's not
Yeah.
right.
Did you hear Trump's latest thing?
To drink to drink Clorox.
No, you can drink Corona. Do not drink. Actually, I wonder if I think Corona sales have gone down.
I
Like,
heard
poor
that.
Corona.
I heard that. Yeah.
Poor Corona. Anyway, he was about the using shining lights inside of your body, which is an interesting whatever, and then using household items and telling the doctors to look into it. And then Trump said to the next day he was like, "Oh, I was being sarcastic."
Yeah,
when I
he said
that.
he was joking. It was a joke.
I was kidding. Ha ha ha. 50,000 Americans are dead. Ha ha ha.
He's
I mean, when you think about it, America has over a quarter of the world's corona deaths.
we're approaching. I think today I read like we're approaching like 900,000 cases. The world only has 2 million cases. That's insane.
I mean, New York State has more corona than any country in the world.
But this is
Just
what
New
happens
York
when
State.
this is why elections fucking matter. When you vote for somebody who's incompetent and doesn't have the experience and really is not suited for office, like this is what happens. So people need to get the fuck out and vote.
Would you ever have a Trump supporter on your podcast to talk about? Maybe you could flip one.
Listen, I would. Yeah, I'd have a Trump supporter on the podcast. But the minute they started spewing conspiracy theories and shit that could endanger people, like drinking Clorox, I would cut their mic. But I think it's important to have, because here's the thing.
And honestly, if you don't cut their mic, you can just have Blake send it to a friend.
I would have one on just to talk and try to have a dialogue. But I also think if you're gonna like say crazy crap, like no. But it's important to have dialogue, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, reaching across the board is really important. Across the table, across the aisle.
Across the aisle. I think this is the thing. Like, I'm in politics, I'm running for office, and I think if I had to work on a piece of legislation with somebody from the other side of the aisle, we need to come up with a solution that's best for the people who live in our community and our city. So you have to reach across the aisle, but in doing so, you have to be fair and not treat people like shit.
Have you ever considered going to law school?
No.
All right, there it is. I'm glad I asked that question.
That doesn't interest me.
Full stop. End of discussion.
That doesn't interest me. I've had people ask that before, but I think of it as like, I don't think you need to be a lawyer to run for office or be an elected official. You have to know the law and you have to know how it operates. Of course, you have to do your homework and your research and you have to be versed in what's happening. But I think it's important to have voices from all backgrounds in office, different occupations, different.
I agree. No, I don't think you have to be a lawyer to
The
run
law
for office.
fascinates me,
I
though.
hope you don't think that I was saying that.
No.
I was just thinking about the way your mind works and applying it to law.
I'm a politics junkie. Like I love local politics in particular. It's like my kink. I love local politics.
Do you have political aspirations beyond city council?
I always tell people, because I get asked that a lot too. Listen, I'm not going to say, there's the same thing when people say, "Oh, do you want to be on Drag Race?" Because I get that also. I always get, are you going to run for a higher office and do you want to be on Drag Race? I'm not going to say no, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or a year from now. I'm going to put my best work into running for city council and doing the best job I can for District 7 in city council. And if something happens in a couple years, great. But for now, that's not my focus. But I won't say I'll never say never because you never know.
Is dog catcher still an elected position in New York?
That's like a
I
joke.
don't even know. You know, outside of New York, there like you have to elect dog catcher. Do you know dog
Really?
catcher's an elect?
Well,
Girl,
that's like
dog
a that's like
catcher is
a
in
thing.
a.
Like, oh, you couldn't even run for dog catcher. That's like a thing people say in New York.
But it is like an elected position.
Really?
I think.
Look that up.
Let
Look
me
that up.
elected dog catcher elected position. Let's see. Um, is dog catcher actually an elected office? No.
Boom.
It says no. I was wrong. Don't listen to me.
Do you have political aspirations in your future?
Not a single one. I have no desire to work in politics.
Really?
None, zero, zilch. Running for office, being an elected official does not speak to me in the slightest bit.
But you're very political. You're very political and vocal about your politics.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I don't. I mean, I also like music, but I have no desire to go to school for opera. You know what I mean?
What was it like when you were getting arrested in drag, taking a stand for what was that for? That was for marriage equality?
Marriage equality in New York State. Yeah, it was a combination of thrilling and exciting, and I was nervous, scary. But for the most part, I was like Esther on her 12th Red Bull. You know what I mean? I was like jacked. I was like full of energy, and I was like, let's get locked up. You know?
What kind of like what was the moment when you're like, I'm okay, I'm gonna get into drag, we're gonna go take to the streets with the knowing that you're gonna get arrested? When was that moment that
Well,
you're like, I'm gonna do this?
I used to be in a group called Queer Rising, and Queer Rising would do these activations, and we would have these meetings at the Jewish Y down in the East Village. And at one point, someone just said, "Why don't we do this action?" And then I remember me and Frosty Flakes, my friend Adam Siciliano, who used to go by the drag name Frosty Flakes, he said, "Do you want to do it in drag? Should we do it in drag?" And we were like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we got all dressed up, and me, Honey LeBronx, and Frosty Flakes all got arrested that day with 6 other people.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What are your views on politics today? Like with everything that's happening, like how
Quick thing too, I didn't tell you this. We didn't know how long we'd be in jail, so I was prepared. So I had a bagel in my wig. My boobs were made of cashews, and under each hip pad I had a Cliff Bar. And that is a fact.
and they didn't check it.
Nope, did not check it. But I was also only in jail for like an hour or less than an hour.
I would have eaten all of that.
And I did. I came out naked. I eaten my clothes. My view on politics, I'm not hopeless, and I don't like the idea that we are hopeless or the idea that Trump is ruining America. I think that the fabric of America is stronger than anything Trump can tear with his tiny little hands. Um, and but the idea like Trump's ruined us, it does not speak to me because I know that I have faith in you know what people say, I hate people. I'm not one of those folks. I love people. I believe in people. I believe at our core we are great people. Even people who have different opinions than mine, I think that they're acting out of fear. They're acting out of greed and envy sometimes. But I don't know that I would like to label them bad people. It's too easy to say you're bad, you're good. I can say what you did was bad. I can say what you did was good. But I think that we are far more nuanced than Jekyll and Hyde.
I agree with that. I believe in goodness. And when I say like, the system was designed this way, that doesn't mean it will always be this way, because I do believe in the goodness of people. And we've seen progress happen over time, right? Like we've seen, laws implemented to help people. And I think that goes back to you saying, would I ever have a guest that's like a Trump supporter? My in-laws, who I love dearly, voted for Trump. But I think it's that when you're in this bubble of all you hear is, they're not bad people. I think it's important to, and I have dialogues with my mother-in-law who I love. She's like such a sweetheart, but I'm very open with, hey, this is why that's like, ooh, and she listens, and we have a dialogue about it, because I think it's like you said, a lot of people act out of fear.
Yeah.
But I believe in the goodness of people.
I mean, even people who are, and this is going to be a controversial statement for your podcast, like even people who label Donald Trump or even on a smaller scale, Sherry Pie as monsters or bad people, I think they do bad things. I think that Trump is probably more than likely acting out of fear of losing money, fear of losing whatever, fear of losing power. He succumbs to his ego. But I don't necessarily know that makes someone a bad person. But I do think that like a lot of his actions toward our country, toward people of color, toward trans people, toward minorities, toward women are bad things. Like he does a lot of bad things.
I do when
You know?
okay, I'll say when I say that I believe in the goodness of people, I do think there might be some people who have no goodness in them, and I think Trump is one of them.
I don't believe there are people who have no like we don't live in a world of supervillains. There's no Joker in real life. You see what I'm saying? I don't think
I
anyone
don't know.
does things with
I'm gonna disagree. I love you. I'm gonna disagree with you on this one. I think. I don't know. I just think he. I don't see any. I don't see. I just don't see goodness in him. Maybe there is deep down. It's hidden because of the fear that you're talking about. I just don't. I don't see
I
it.
mean, don't you think it's coincidental to say there's goodness in everyone except this one person? Again, I would never vote for Trump, and I disapprove practically every single one of his policies that exist. However, I just don't think people are easy enough to reduce down to good and bad. Because if Trump is complete bad, then there must be someone in the world who's complete good, who's never done a terrible thing, and that person doesn't exist either. So people,
You're that
oh,
person. No,
that is adamantly untrue.
no.
Um,
I am a believer in. I do think like I do think we all make mistakes, certainly, and when you know better, you do better, and it's important to like, you either going to learn from your mistakes and do better, or you're not, But I don't know if maybe there's goodness. I just don't know if he is the type of person that would be willing to go and say, "Hey, this is really fucked. I need to right my wrongs." I don't think he would ever do that.
I mean, something I said recently online, I had an argument with someone on Twitter recently, and instead of like trying to write them off as someone bad or something evil or dead, because they were saying I was like evil and nasty and blah blah blah.
About you?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
That's
I
not
was
nice.
saying, bear in mind that if you had all of my experiences, you would be just like me. And I tell that to everyone else. If I had all of your experiences, I'd be just if I was if I looked like you, raised where you were raised, had all your experiences, I would have turned out exactly like you. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I think too, when people go on about people who have like mental problems or mental disabilities, they're like, "Well, this person's crazy." I'm like, okay, it's so easy to write someone off as crazy when you don't suffer from any of these mental ailments. And if you experience everything they went through, you would be crazy too.
Yeah, I don't really like calling people crazy. Yeah, I think people put so much negative connotation on mental illness, and I hate that. It's like people that you're dealing with mental illness is a it's a disease. You can't like you don't make fun of somebody for having a different disease. So why would you make fun of somebody for having a mental illness?
So, do you think Trump is mentally ill?
I don't know.
I think Trump. I mean, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, so I don't know this. But a lot of psychiatrists have said that Trump exhibits traits of someone who has like clinical narcissism. You know what I mean? Um, and with that in mind, I mean, I certainly think that Trump is unfit to do the job that he's doing. Certainly.
Yeah, I mean, I would totally agree that he's completely unfit for this job. But what is your hope? What do you see? Where do you see us in 4 years?
In 4 years, Well, I hope that somehow, like, we've lost sight of the fact that we have a lot more in common than we have different. And I feel like people have been like people on the right side of politics are obsessed with money, 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 and my guns and my rights and my liberties and my this and my that, and I feel disenfranchised. And I feel like that is because people on the right are experiencing this thing where when the shift when the power balance shifts, when it starts getting closer to equality, the people who have had all the power start to feel oppressed. So when you've had all the power and then someone else gets just a little bit of power, in your head they're like, well, wait a minute, this feels different, this feels unusual. So they start to feel like they're oppressed, which is why white men are like, the white man is being oppressed in America, which is practically impossible. I mean, practically impossible, um, to oppress a cisgendered straight white man systemically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you, as an artist, are using your platform with your shows like We Are Here and Drag Race and
Tells the city
yeah,
and high maintenance and playing house.
yeah, you're using all of your platform, your shows to highlight humanizing people, humanizing
I
us.
was also in Rough Night starring Kate McKinnon and Scarlett Johansson. All right, I'm done.
Yes, girl, she's got a resume. The resume, but you're using it to promote good, which is incredible.
I was also on the Marty Report on Logo. That's
That is true. That is very it. You were on the Marty Report, available now on Logo TV, where we're talking about politics and you getting arrested in drag and using your platform, which I've always looked up to. I've always been so in awe of you and how you use your drag for good for other people. So that it's just, I don't know. I think it's so important, especially now. Like drag is being broadcast and shown to people in such a larger scale than it ever has been, which is great for LGBTQ people and marginalized people because we're able to humanize people to audiences who may never be exposed to us.
well, I think it's really easy to dehumanize people when you give them no human traits. I mean, so HBO tweeted out our trailer, and the response was so shocking. I had never been had anyone say the things they were saying about me. I mean, I should even read you some of them. They were so insane. I hadn't been called these kind of words since I was like in high school. Um, and I think that the reason why these people did that is because they were basically taking this opportunity to dehumanize me, Shangela, and Eureka. They felt like these aren't people, so it's easy to write them off as, freaks or let me read some of the response. I read them, yeah. So here are some of the comments. Hard pass. So tired of this agenda. Why is this even on my feed? Nope. Um, I'm packing on weight for a movie role I don't have. Regina Hall. Wait, did I leave the? Oh, I left the thing. Sorry, I started reading other random stuff. Um, HBO equals sick freak show. Um, I find clowns terrifying, so I'll pass. Fuck that. Please stop. Sick. Glad I don't subscribe to HBO. The drag stuff is dead. We're over it. Um, this isn't home. I'm sorry. It isn't hate. I just can't control my gag reflex when I see things that sicken me to my stomach. I'm honestly sympathetic and feel bad for people who are like this. So it's like, I mean, it's a mega thread of that.
I hate that people are these keyboard warriors. They hide behind the internet and just write the most awful stuff. I mean, I've read comments about me saying, you fag, die of AIDS, fuck you, fag. It's really disgusting and awful how people do that.
Well, it doesn't bother me so much because I realize that if someone tells you to die of AIDS and calls you a fag, it says a lot more about them than it does about you. It actually doesn't say anything about you. I mean, maybe it says that you're queer. Maybe it's just stating a fact that you're queer through the guise of really nasty, homophobic, hateful speech. But the context of that text or tweet or comment says way more about the person who's commenting than it does about the person they're commenting on. And that's why I say the same way I feel about, and I don't know why I keep lumping Sherry and Trump together because I feel like Sherry's someone in our community who has gotten a lot of hate because what she did was really unscrupulous. It was amoral. It was detrimental. It was probably illegal. Um, and she should probably be in jail for that. But but to then chalk someone up to be a completely bad person. I mean, I'm sure Sherry Pie has done something nice for someone in her life out of the kindness of her heart. I'm sure. Imagine a person who has gone their entire life never having ever done anything for anyone. That is, to me, literally unfathomable, even in regards to the most unscrupulous of people.
Yeah, I mean, I say that goodness always wins. There is goodness in everybody. Most people, I would like to say. For Sherry Pie, I hope she gets help. I believe that she does need help, but I also believe that the behavior that she exhibited is criminal, and I feel for her victims. I worry for them. They have to live this out in the public. But, also, she needs to be tried by a jury, get this taken care of, and then get help from a professional. She needs help. She needs help.
She probably needs help. Like, she probably legit needs help.
Yeah, 100%. And also, when you're dealing with this drag race kind of stuff, the drag race fans, a lot of the drag race fans, it seems, just are keyboard warriors. Is that true? Is that not true? What is your take on the fans and a lot of them posting really negative, often racist comments?
Let me say this. The fandom as a whole is very supportive, very kind, very uplifting. There is a contingency within the fandom that is vile, that is racist, that is nasty. I mean, Britta Filter, who is an amazing drag queen, a wonderful activist for our community, a true pillar of New York City drag and nightlife, has been bullied off the internet. I mean, they bullied her to the point where she fully left the internet.
That completely breaks my heart. Britta is one of the kindest, most incredible, hardworking performers.
Marty, hello.
She's phenomenal.
Marty.
Okay, this is very exciting because what you listeners don't know is my entire computer just crashed, so we're picking it up where we left off, bitch.
So we were discussing mental illness basically at the time.
And then my computer crashed, and I really put me through it.
You crashed when the computer crashed. See, like when the computer crashed, Marty booted down. She went.
Well, listen, I have to say, I'm so joyful that you are somebody who's used your platform to continue to uplift voices of others. And I love the new show on HBO. We're here. I think it's incredible. And I think it's going to really help a lot of people, like you said, humanize us, so thank you for that. And always for your leadership in politics and progressive values. So Bob.
Yes, my dear.
I just want to leave our audience on our inaugural episode with a little nugget of wisdom.
You want me to give a nugget of wisdom?
Yeah. What would you say to...
It sounds so simple. I want to give this advice, but it just sounds so simple, but it's actually apparently really hard. It's two things. One, like, it's okay to love yourself. Like, it's okay to do that. I joined the program and, someone told me that and it seems so profound. And then someone else just said, be nice to yourself. Just be nice. Just be nice.
Be nice to yourself. Yeah.
It's easy to feel like you can be mean to yourself because it's you. But I mean, you have to spend more time with yourself than you spend with anyone else.
Do you know what I love?
And you don't want to be trapped alone with a fucking bully.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
I love that so much. I've my friend Joe Huber, who I love so much, he would say to me when we talked about me having anxiety and stuff, and I would beat myself up, and he would say to me, "Hey, don't talk to my friend Marty that way. Don't treat my friend that way." And I finally said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Would you talk to somebody else that way? Would you call somebody else those names? And I was like, "Well,
Yeah.
no, that's horrible." And he goes, "Then don't do it to yourself."
That sounds amazing.
And it really changed my outlook, so yeah, you got to love yourself, and it's okay to.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you for having me, Marty.
Roberta Elaine, I love you. Oh, I know I'm not supposed to yell in the microphone, but I will.
Is that going to be your official campaign slogan?
You can see Bob the Drag Queen on The Pit Stop for RuPaul's Drag Race. You can see Bob on Secret Celebrity Drag Race. You can see Bob on HBO's We Are Here. You can see Bob on Tales of the City on Netflix. You can see Bob all over the internet. You can get Bob's
Sibling
music.
Rivalry podcast.
Sibling Rivalry with Monet Exchange. You can see Bob everywhere because Bob is the best, the greatest, the most magnificent, the glorious, the transcendental, the fabulous.
You're so nice. Why you're being so sweet?
Well, I love you from the depths of my womb. I love you.
Well, thank you, Marty, and you be safe, okay?
Hey.
Yeah?
I am sending you the biggest virtual hug in the world right now. I'm squeezing goodness into you.
6 feet, 6 feet, 6 feet.
I love you. I wish the viewers could see videos of you, but I just need to leave them. Okay. I have this weird thing where I need, every time I see Bob, I need to be picked up into the air and thrown into the asphalt.
It's because years ago we did a cruise together and I body slammed you,
and I loved
in the hotel room,
and I loved it.
You are so.
I
silly.
loved it. I want on my inauguration day for you to throw me down the steps of City Hall in a body slam.
Congresswoman Marti Cummings. I'm into it.
You'll have to perform at my inauguration celebration.
I would do that. Am I allowed to call you my Congresswoman?
Well, no, City Council.
Oh, sorry, not as Congress. I really went a step.
You went a couple steps further.
Senator Marti Cummings.
You live in my district, so I hope that I earn your vote.
You know what? You're getting there, kid.
All right, everybody. That's Bob the Drag Queen. Thank you for tuning in to Marti Talks. Have a beautiful day, and we will see you next time. Be safe, spread love, and don't be a dick. Thanks for listening to Marti Talks. This podcast is presented by The Only Productions, Mitch Farino, and Bob the Drag Queen. Editing is also done by Mitch Farino and Bob the Drag Queen. Check out other podcasts, videos, and live events at theonlyproductions.com. Make sure you're registered to vote, tell your friends and family to register to vote, and get to the polls. Our democracy and our lives are at stake. Thanks again. You can find me on all social media at Marti G. Cummings. Until next time, spread love and don't be a dick.